Shameless. United in the Europa League. Europa League. Let me tell them one time and we say Europa League. Europa.
There you go. Back. Oh, I tell you what, this day is not for me, is it? It is not for me. What a load of bullshit. Well, I can't swear this early. I tell you what, as an opening 30 seconds ago, it was good. You missed out on one. Oh, Man United's Europa League campaign begins with a stutter. This is the full-time viewer. Members can call in and have their say. If you do wish to become a member, you can do so. Links in the video description. You can also click the join button. It's pinned in the chat. And if you are a member, go over to the United View YouTube page. Go over to the community tab. The link will be there. You saw me on the match view. Not happy. I was just listening to Ten Hag talking there. I was just listening actually to a bit of the analysis on TNT Sports, and I forgot that at the weekend there's an argument to be made against Crystal Palace. We could have lost that game. You know, we missed chances, and Crystal Palace had like proper chances to score. They had big misses. And on top of that, you know, Andre Onana made a big double save. So this idea of like, you know, oh, unlucky or whatever, that's not new. We can't see out games. We can't score goals. And this evening, we just kind of, first half was all right. Get the goal, Christian Eriksen, cool. But second half, we just didn't really bother. We kind of went through it. Halfway through the paces, not too bad. And I know, you know, KG said he disagreed, but I felt like they were growing into the game. Their fans started making noise. Their fans started getting into it. And then you're looking at individual performances. Bruno again, he gets shifted on the right-hand side. I'm looking at Eric going, Ten Hag, how many times we had this conversation about that last kick of the game, but they get the ball in the box. He goes for a shot. That's tepid, you know. It's just not good enough. Christian Eriksen, as much as great as his goal was, his mistakes even worse. It was shocking. And then Harry Maguire for that one dives in. I'm still not having that. Onana couldn't do much about the goal. The positioning is way off. He actually, if you watch it back, last second he shifts, and it gives the player who scores a bit of room in the near post and scores. It can't be happening. And again, you saw the reaction of that team at the end of the match. You saw them dancing in front of their fans. Their fans made the most noise the whole night. And it just, again, that ain't good enough. That is just not good enough. And it's not to say like it's a Ten Hag witch hunt. It's not to say it's a Bruno witch hunt or it's a Rashford witch hunt or it's an Eriksen witch hunt or whatever. It's just collectively not good enough. And they have to take responsibility for that. It's just poor. You know, fortunately, with the way that this new format works, even in the old format, it's not the end of the world. We ain't lost. We drawn. But what did we say at the beginning? Take care of your home games, you know, win those. And then, you know, everything else, you can take care of the rest. We can't draw your home games against FC Twente. You can't. You can't expect to do that and win the competition as well with that level of performance. That is not good enough. I'll get to some of the calls in just a second as people are filing in. Is it Ten Hag's fault, though? But this is what I mean. I said this on the match view. Again, it's just this obsession with like, this is all on Erik Ten Hag, or this is all on Bruno Fernandes, or this is all on collectively, folks. It is not good enough. Eric has criticism because his subs in the second half didn't make sense. The players have criticism because mentally they are so fragile that if you have a bit of adversity, that's it, game over. And then you go circle back to the coaches because you go, well, put the mentality in the players, use the options that you've got. Some of the players, again, grab the game by the scruff of the neck, do your job, put the ball in the back of the net, all of it. It's just not good enough. Not good enough. Let's get to the calls. Let's start off with Amanor. Another rocky start in a European campaign. What did you make of it all?
Good evening, Owen. I'm just deflated. I thought I was frustrated after the Crystal Palace game. I'm equally frustrated with this game because I remember listening to you flex on the red carpet and KG, and I'm not having to go at you, Owen. So please don't. It's not this. The narrative that's coming from you and Flex is that it's FC Twente at home. We should be winning this. This is like a team that's not, is not renowned for European pedigree, etc. And I bought into the hype a little bit. And to be honest, with you, I believed. Yeah, and I said, yeah, you know what? It's a home game. I'm expecting 2-0 minimum. I'm expecting for us to dominate the possession, dominate them as we did against Crystal Palace the first half. That was my expectation before the match. Then I saw the team news come out, and I was questioning, thinking, hold on, why is Rashford playing? Why is Bruno playing? And then the game started, and I was quite impressed with certain players. I was quite impressed with Rashford, actually. I thought he had the intensity. You could see his hunger was coming back. Yes, he could have been a bit more selfish in the opportunities, but for me, the most frustrating thing about that game is that but for those fans that say we create chances and we're doing well, it's almost like we're doing the basics well. But that's what you would expect from any other team, and we're applauding that. And when we had that horrendous mistake in the second half, I don't know what KG was watching. I was watching that second half, and I was thinking, these guys, if they continue the way they're playing, they might win this game. I'm not exaggerating what I'm saying. I felt like the momentum was with them, and it was actually when they made their substitutions and went to a 5-4-1, the momentum shifted back to us. So I'm watching that match and I'm leaving and thinking, hold on, did we play well, or was it the fact that FC Twente took the foot of the gas and it came to a draw? And the fact that this is a home game against a club that I don't know much about them, but we should be beating home, and we're drawing against them. It's just not good enough. Really, it's not good enough. So lots of people to blame.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. That's why I disagreed with KG in the match view, because I felt second. I don't think you have to be like goalkeepers making 500 saves to be like, oh, they're really in control of the game, or that momentum swung rather in their favor, because it felt like it. Like we played okay first half, better team in the first half. We did dominate possession. I think it was like 56-44 or something like that. Shade it, but second half, we were kind of coasting through the game, and you can't do that. And I agree with you. I think FC Twente scored, and then they almost panicked to an extent and thought, right, get behind the ball. But even then, United's response is a bit like the Palace game. I don't know what you think about this, but it got to like the final 10-15 minutes against Palace at the weekend, and we just sort of resorted to pump the ball in the box again, try and force it through. And it's like, well, again, what are we doing at that point? I mean, what did you think about the decision to put Bruno right wing as well? I feel like we've had this conversation a few times before.
Yeah, I mean, I know you were trying to be balanced, saying, look, it's everybody's fault, and I agree with that. But then this is where I kept question Erik ten Hag's in-game management. I don't understand why Bruno's on the right. To be honest with you, I didn't notice that. I wasn't focused on that. I was more focused in terms of can we build, can we destroy their low block? And Bruno in the right, I don't know why he does it. This is Ten Hag's stubbornness again. But I was more concerned about some of his substitutions. I'm not Rashford's biggest fan. I actually think Rashford should be sold. So let me make this absolutely clear. But I thought he played well, and yet he subbed him off. And then we put Garnacho on the right for Ahmad, and Ahmad I thought played well. He was probably our most dangerous winger, and he takes him off, and then he puts Bruno on the right. So these are symptomatic of decisions that he's making during the game, where he's thinking he's actually developing the team and taking the team forward. I would argue is regressing our team, and I genuinely believe, this is my view, had FC Twente not made those substitutions to go to 5-4-1 and kept that Lamar guy, the guy who scored or whatever, I think they had more chance of winning that game than us towards the end.
Interested. I mean, just finally, how are you feeling about Spurs at the weekend coming out of that?
I'm not sure. I don't know what to expect. If you're asking me, are we going to prediction going to win? I don't know. I genuinely don't know where the goals are going to come from. I can see the chances being created, but we are now playing against a good Tottenham team. I know that they're not at form, but they will be. They're not going to fear us. they'll know how to play against you. Just make sure they play good transition football. Just make sure that as long as you defend your 18-yard box, United will just play ticky-tacky football outside the 18-yard box, make things look pretty. They're not going to score. Then they'll run out of energy, and then we'll beat them on transition. I can see Tottenham scoring. I don't know what the score will be, but I can see Tottenham scoring at Old Trafford.
Interesting. Big up, Abanor. Appreciate you as always. What's the chat saying? A lot of comments going in on the chat this morning. Feels like it. Fucking hell. Ridwan says Bruno cannot be captain anymore. He's not the best example to follow for me. Mr. Dark Side says, how are we going to beat Spurs, bro? Someone's traveling here. How do you say that? Is Agya? It says, I'm traveling from the United States for the Spurs game and I'm scared. Hopefully for the game, not the flight or anything like that. What else are people saying here? Paulie says, the overreaction to draws is so exhausting. Well, let us know in the chat. Do you agree with what Paulie's saying? Is this an overreaction or is it legitimate concern? Get your thoughts in about that one too. And whilst you're at it, click the like button too. Let's go to another call. Let's go to Show. Show, talk to me. Are you shocked with what you see tonight or is this what you expect?
No, it's a continuation of what we've seen going back to last season. I mean, I'd love to know. I'd love to ask KG all the chances that I kept talking about, because even in the first half when we deserved to go in 1-0 up, probably not more than that. Apart from the goal, what else did we create? I can't remember anything else. There was that shot that the defender hit towards his own keeper. It's not something we created. Second half, it was the same again. We created nothing. So all these chances that apparently we missed because people keep quoting the 19 shots. Most of the 19 shots were nothing. So, again, it was a performance, like you said, where, the build-up play up until the final third was fine. But again, that's what I expect. Like, all these things I keep hearing fans saying is stuff that I would have accepted in the first season. Our build-up play is great, but we haven't got the finishing touch. There's a few bits missing here and there. That's fine for the first season. It's not for the third season when you spent 500 mil. The expectation should be higher. But now it's like you said it perfectly. I think you referenced culture camps. Like, the things that we glorify are the basics. Oh, look, we can pass the ball now. Oh my God, we couldn't do that last season. Wow. Or like, oh my God, we can see passing patterns. I should see passing patterns. 500 million. I should see passing patterns. We went in 1-0 up against FC Twente. Be happy. It's like, I'm sorry, I expect this. Like, otherwise, because the thing is, we want to have it both ways, right? Because I always hear fans say, we want people to respect Man United. We're Man United. We want the respect. We want to be known as a big club again, a big team again. At the same time, we glorify stuff that is basic. You can't have it both ways. Which is it? Are we Man United, or are we now lower than that? Have we lowered our standards?
No, it's true. Like I said, when I heard Coach Cam say that, I thought he's so right. And I think tonight's a great example of it, of the sense of, we play some nice stuff in the first half, some build-up plays, okay, but it's 1-0. And you end up drawing the game 1-1. And to your point, I know that, when we say, top teams can do that, and then the natural response is United aren't a top team, but with the players that are on the pitch and the value of them, should we not be expecting more than a couple of passes? Is it wrong to have expectations higher than the sort of basic fundamentals of football, or is that legitimately where we're at?
I mean, it is kind of where we're at, and that's the sad point, but it's not, we shouldn't accept where we're at. That's basically what it is. We know where we're at. We're in the Europa League, we're a Europa League side. However, we shouldn't accept that we can't beat Twente at home, that we can't score against Palace, that we get thrown to Liverpool 3-0 at home, that we lost against Brighton, that we had the season that we had last season. It should be an upwards arc. But yes, maybe we have improved since last season, because the baseline is now we don't concede 20 shots anymore. Like, if people hear you complain, they say, "Why are you complaining? We don't concede 20 shots anymore." I'm like, why is that your baseline? The 20 shots shouldn't be your baseline. It's like, we shouldn't have seen that last season to begin with, to use that as a baseline. But now we use it. And then it's like, well, we don't lose 8 home games at home anymore, but we should never lose 8 home games anyway. Like, this is the thing. It's like the baselines that we're using are below a level that I've never seen, really. So it's like, And then again, like you mentioned the subs today. Again, the forcing of Bruno in the team is just it's crazy. It's like the guy's so badly out of form, and it's like Eriksen's having a not an amazing, but probably one of our most influential players in the attack. Got a good goal, but I don't know. Maybe put Casemiro on alongside Ugarte. Put Eriksen in the 10. Why not? Why not try it? He took Xerxes off again. Like he keeps taking him off, and yet he's the only one that I think that seems to be able to link the play and attack. When he comes off, we seem to not be able to build up anything at all. And then it's like Rashford, who I'm not the biggest fan of, but had a good game today. Took him off. Like it's the subs are mental. Like and even then, he made him in the 77th minute. And like I remember you were saying at the beginning of the second half, like, man, this ain't good. Like 55 minutes. Like let's make subs. He put Garnacho on, but then they had to score, and then we reacted. It was too late. But then the game was already gone away.
Yeah, no, I agree, and that's where I go back to. I push back on when KG was saying, "Oh, I didn't feel they weren't in ascendancy," but I was like, it's just kind of a natural feeling, isn't it? You get to 65 minutes, you go, they're growing into the game a little bit here, and they're making subs. We should probably be making subs here. You know what I mean? It's like it's that kind of feeling, and then as you mentioned, Bruno on the right hand side, I don't get. I just don't get. Do you think that's what it is at this point? It is just a case of shoehorning him into the side. But are we then having the same situation we had kind of like with Rashford last season, where it's like you've got to eventually start taking him out of the team for his own good as well as the team's own good as well?
Yeah, no, I mean, I think he's doing the same thing that he did. Like he was forcing Rashford a lot in the team last season when we kept saying drop him, because I think he tries to force these players back into form. And I think Bruno and Rashford are his two go-to guys. So like it's almost like without them two, when they're both not on form, he doesn't really know how to set up a team without them. That's just what I think. So he has to always have one of them on form, otherwise he goes, what am I going to do? I can't rely on anyone else. But we should be a team. We should have a team cohesion where we're not relying on individuals anymore. But we are. It seems that way anyway.
Yeah, no, it feels like it. Just finally, Spurs at the weekend. How are you feeling pre-match? How are you feeling post-match?
I honestly think it'll be a close game. The thing about the Spurs game is that they play a high line, which benefits us. And Spurs always give you chances. That's the thing about it's not going to be like the Spurs game ain't going to be like today. That's the thing. That's why I think it's going to be a close game. We can win that, weirdly enough, but they're going to get chances as well. That's proper 50-50 game, you know. I think personally it ended in another draw. I know we're pretty sick of draws lately, but I can see it being another draw. But I wouldn't be surprised if we edged that one.
I hope so, man. We need a win. Big up, show. Appreciate you. Good call, as always. Couple of super chats here. After 89 says, it takes several seasons to build a champion winning side, which is why Ten Hag's tactics or lack thereof are very concerning at this point. I can't see Ineos putting up with this for another season. Danny DeFito says the look on Eriksen's face when he got subbed says, yes, he made an error for their goal, but going forward, he was playing well. That dressing room will turn on Erik ten Hag and I can't blame them. Yeah, like I said, the subs for me, just again, the moving of, I mean, we've done the Bruno on the right-hand side thing like a while ago. And as soon as I saw that, I was like, here we go. I couldn't wrap my head around it. Let's go to another question. Before I do, how many likes are we currently at? We're currently at 172 likes. We've got over 800 people watching, which is fantastic for this time of the night on a Wednesday. So if you haven't already, click the like button for all of the members getting involved and putting their calls in. Let's go to Eminem. What are your thoughts on the draw this evening?
Yeah, Owen. Yeah, it's disappointing. It didn't really feel like a loss like Crystal Palace, but you know, 2.5 years in, this is the third season. Since the first season, we've been seeing that we cannot score goals. Rashford was carrying us last season. Rashford was out of form. Not last season. The first season, Rashford was out of form last season. Then no one was really. I mean, there was goals coming in here and there, but we weren't scoring that many. And this season, it's the same story. We could talk about all those missed chances and everything. I know people are like to tweet that there's an improvement over last season, but I think Joe said before that we can't use that as a baseline, and us using it as a baseline, we're just lowering the standards even further. And yeah, this is such. I mean, yeah, the players need to do better. However, the manager needs to affect the game as it goes on. I think Ten Hag, these 2 games, Crystal Palace and FC Twente, he's basically did substitutions which don't make sense at all, and it's just thrown the game. I think he's thrown both games away like that.
So is it the subs that concern you? And also, I suppose on top of that, is it also the not only just the substitutions, but the tactical change, like putting Bruno out wide right? I mean, how did you try and make sense of that one? Can you make sense of that one?
It's everything. I mean, as soon as Bruno went right, I knew that we're not going to win this game. I just knew, like, he's not good on the right. He kept him on like he did against Crystal Palace, and it just got even worse. He needs to know how to take a player out, and this has just been a trait of Ten Hag. His tactical game plan as the game goes is not as good as the opposing manager. Sometimes, I mean, people brought up the Liverpool game in the FA Cup last season, but pretty much that was just a chaos game. He just threw everything on there. There was no technical game plan, and we won that by, I'll say, by passion, because we wanted to beat Liverpool. He doesn't know how to affect the game tactically. The subs were completely wrong. I mean, I think, yeah, Rashford was our best player today. He shouldn't have gone off. Bruno should have gone off. Eriksen made a mistake. He should have stayed on. And yeah, I don't know how he wanted us to create. Obviously, Dalot was working in that box midfield. However, he took him out that box, and they were doing overlaps and underlaps, which worked in like one occasion for Garnacho. And yeah, he's when he tries to be proactive, I don't think he knows how to do it the right way. It's really poor from Erik ten Hag.
It's interesting here in the chat. We got a comment that says, "I see the improvement. I just don't see the execution." Do you think that's a fair argument? Is how much share of the blame do the players take? Is it a case of, look, manager can't put the ball in the back of the net for you, or is it a case of it's a combination of both?
It's a combination of both. However, we spent 600 million. I think it's around 600 million. We spent some money on some really good players and some bad players. These are Ten Hag players. They're playing for him. It's still up to the manager to set them up well. We called Oli a PE teacher, but a lot of the games that we won and some of the games that we came out like in the second half, he sort of maximized those players and got a win and got a result, churned out a result. We don't do that now. We can't even churn out results. Our head just drops down, and yeah, I think the mentality of the players is also a concern there. But I think right now, because we're in the 3rd season, there's a lot of pressure on Ten Hag, in my opinion. It's up to him to actually affect the game. He has to put those players in the situation, in the best situation when trying to win games. But he doesn't really do that. The mistake today regarding the goal, that was on the players. I would say that. But the whole setup itself, the way we go from the first phase of the game to the 3rd phase, that's on Ten Hag. That's on him. But the missed chances obviously is on the players. But yeah.
And finally, how are you feeling about Spurs on Sunday? Of course, Joe saying we still could edge it. They give us chances, but I suppose the question is, if they give us chances, can we even take them?
I think we might. It's a 50-50. Last season, I think we drew and lost against them, because we're at home, right?
Yeah.
I think because we're at home, so I think we can win this game. However, if Spurs turn up, if Ange makes changes in the second half, I don't think Ten Hag will be able to answer him.
Interesting stuff. Big up Eminem. Appreciate you as always. Great call. What people say in the chat. Close sense. Eriksen is the reason we lost. Didn't even lose. It was 1-1. It feels like a loss. What else are people saying here? Fat Thor says they can leave an open goal and we'll still struggle to score. what else are people saying here? K-Flow says 10-game brigade. We are watching. TV Thrill says KG. A lot of people are coming for KG at the moment. A lot of people are coming for KG. It's an interesting development. Let's inject a bit of humor into our lives. The Mancutioner.
Mr. Owen. First of all,
Mr. Kushner. Yeah, Mr. Kushner.
Hey, thanks. Yeah, so just wanted to first of all, wish you a belated happy birthday.
Thank you very much.
Unfortunately, United did not give us the birthday wish we wanted.
No.
I will say I do believe have a couple things. I think we're being very, very reactionary. I think Twente is probably, besides Porto, the hardest Europa League group game fixture that we have.
At home, though, Mancutioner.
We should be beating them. We should be honestly. Now, I think it's being a little harsh on Ten Hag about it, but the players need accountability. How can you have a coach like Ruud van Nistelrooy and you can't score? Like that's, if anybody is going to show you how to shoot the ball, you would think it would be Ruud, right? So I think that's something to definitely think about. In my opinion, I don't know if it's a lack of confidence or what it is, but that goal, 5 players made an error. Ugarte would have saved it if a couple other players had not continued to make errors after that. But I mean, at the end of the day, we're not leaking goals like we did last season, right? So there are positives to take on this, right? It is what it is, but pretty much that's what it is. I don't have humor. It's for today. It's.
I mean, I was hoping for something spice in my life. I was thinking Mancution is going to deliver. He gave me a happy birthday, so that was good.
I got one for you. I guess we have Chelsea fans calling us. Maybe people like Matisse. He has blue eyes. One blue this way, one blue the other way.
Mancutioner, can't have that on this stream. You get me cancelled. I mean, jeez, Louise. Fuck it out. I mean, I'd say that joke behind a mask too. I want people to see my face. I just commit a crime for the whole world to see. Good Lord. I wish I had KG's apology music now. All right, who's going to salvage that? Who's going to follow that one, guys? Who do I trust? Chalaboy Comics.
How's it going, Owen?
Resurrect the show. What did you think of the game?
I'm going to resurrect this show with not just what people may think is called positivity, but what I think is realism. And I want to say that I'm disappointed in general with the overall feedback of what people thought about our performance. Now, right off the bat, we should be beaten 20 at home, right? That's the standard of Man United. We should win. So I am disappointed in the result. However, the steps we've taken as a team, I heard Shaw talking about, these are just the basics. It's more than the basics because we're actually dominating teams now in multiple phases of the game. When Ten Hag says that he wants to be a highly transitional team, it's not just going, how quickly you can go from front to back, but it's also what you do in the transitionary moments of the game. And that is once you've just won possession and how you get back into shape or how you counter press when you've lost possession. And Man United are doing those two things, or did those two things very well against this team. It's sort of like if there are people in the chat who play chess or whatever, the main basis of a good compact transition team is how you space yourself, your space in your pawn structure, right? The position the players take up in order to force the oppositions into difficult passes, unforced errors. We were doing that. Every second ball, especially in the first half, was falling to our players. I don't know if you picked up on your broadcast, but the broadcast we had here on Paramount, there was a point in time Ten Hag was screaming at Ahmed, you have to come back. You have to come back. And he did that about twice in the game. And when Eriksson actually scored ended up scoring the goal, if you look back at the full phase of play, it all started with Ahmed being in the position to get the second ball, to which Ten Hag clapped him and said, "Good, now you're in this space, now you're here." That was a very specific tackling instruction, and we eventually circulated the ball, and Eriksson scored. So we were doing a lot of things right. The only I don't say the only problem. One of the issues is when it comes to finishing chances is that we have a young striker in Xerxes who, from my observation of him, is trying to react to the ball being put into the box instead of gambling to get to the position so that he meets the ball. And once he figures out that situation, he'll be getting to those nearly chances, a lot better. So I just want to say right off the bat, we did not play badly. We played quite well. We're doing what we need to do. We're executing. We're not executing, but we are sort of playing majority of Ten Hag's game model in the right way, and we were being patient. So that's the first thing I want to say. And then the second thing I want to say is when we're talking about Bruno Fernandes going onto the right-hand side and how it was a bad tactical change, maybe that's not his favorite position. And there may be other reasons why Ten Hag left him on the pitch. They could be tactical, they could be inspirational, whatever the case may be. But when we made the substitution, it was about the 78th minute. And I actually went back and watched the game. We created about 4 good chances since that change happened to Bruno on the right, and then created about 3 half chances, and then created a corner through Mazraoui-Bruno combination play in which Maguire then had a header. Bruno did not play badly on the right-hand side. Now, maybe he wasn't optimized as well, but I think it was more about him being a multifunctional player where he can affect multiple phases of the game and allowing people like Mount, people like Maino to be in positions closer to the goal where they can get the goal and get the score. So I just feel like we are being absolutely reactionary to this game. Is it disappointing that we that we drew? Yes, it is disappointing, but I'm seeing more than positives. I'm seeing players being capable of carrying out a game model for longer periods of the game than we're used to. We used to be 20-minute FC. This time I want to give us about 45 minutes FC plus 20 minutes at the end. I give us 60 minutes FC for this game. Is it good enough to get us to the next level? Not at the moment, but the progress is there. We shouldn't turn our backs on these players when they're actually trying really good, really, really hard, and we actually seeing a lot of positives. So that's what I want to just say as my opening salvo, because I don't understand why we are so mad. I understand from the result, but not from the performance perspective.
Do you think that maybe it's a case of we can't score as well? Why can't we score?
So no, that's a good point. But we're putting people in positions to score, and that's all you can do from a game model perspective. Now, why can't we score? I think I alluded to it in part of it is Xerxes' anticipation. It's something that will come with time. We talk about we spent 500, 600 million, and yes, we have. We're in our third part of the season. But Xerxes is really young. He's 19. Is it 19? Or is it 20? He's very young. Garnacho.
How old is Xerxes? He's 20, isn't he? He's 23.
23? Okay, well, he should be done better then. So Xerxes is still a bit young. It's still new league, new team. Hopefully he makes that next step. Højlund, if we look at the sample sizes from last season where we talked about what seems to be Højlund's pattern, it seems when he first comes into a team, he's going to be shaky. He'll need like 3-4 games where he's going to be off. And then once he starts scoring, the goals will come. We just need to be a little bit more clinical, but I don't think it has to be like a personal sort of responsibility from a player to say, I have to finish these chances. We're just not in sync because we have a lot of players coming back, but I think the goals will come. They have to come based on the repeated nature of us getting to these clear-cut positions. And we're doing so more so than we did in last season. And also the way in which we do it this season, we're still retaining a compact shape, which allows us to retain the ball and not concede a bunch of chances when we do play that risky ball that doesn't come through. So I'm not worried about the process. I'm just biding my time for the execution part of it. So that's what I'd say to that.
With biding your time, though, how much time do you think Erik ten Hag's got? When it comes to this kind of thing, we know obviously he doesn't have the outside noise that was there last year when it comes to all of this, and eventually it's a results-based business. When do these performances have to turn into results? How quickly?
So as quickly as the next game, because that's how you have to just see football. It's like, we didn't do as well today in terms of finishing our chances. So we have to make sure we win next game, and that's just the mentality. Take it game by game. If you're talking about how we think Ineos will react to this, well, it depends on two things. I think the first one is how they are evaluating Ten Hag in terms of the performances. If I assume that they're talking constantly and looking at underlying data, looking at all these things, and I believe that if Ineos is evaluating our performance levels through like analytics and with reason and and all that situation, I think they will know that we are on an upward trajectory. However, there's also a second part of this when it comes to objectives. As a manager, you're given objectives at the start of the season, and they might be certain non-negotiables that Ineos have put for Ten Hag, meaning that we would appreciate the job you've done to get us to this level, but if you don't hit this objective, we will go with someone new that we think can. If that's the case, it's probably based on how they're going to qualify in Europe, the depth we go in different competitions. So those are like the managerial objectives that may play a role to make it happen sooner, losing his job sooner than later. But if we're talking strictly performance levels and the direction we're going and how we're building, I think they will be pleased with Erik ten Hag at this point in time.
And just finally, you mentioned as soon as the next game is Spurs at the weekend. How are you feeling about it?
So I'm feeling confident in terms, because I was confident for this game. I've been confident this season because I can see where we're going. However, that game is going to come down between who our clinical players are going to be, because Son is going to get one chance, and it's either Onana saves it or he scores. And at that point, will we be 2-1 ahead? Will we be 3-1 ahead? So it's going to come down to our big players. And what I would say in terms of the lineup that we're going to put today, I think, and I may be premature, but I think from the balance I saw today, this is our best starting team, bar De Ligt for Maguire, even though Maguire had a good position today. And I think that we should set up like this. Ahmed on the right because his defensive work has been really good. Rashford because he's the X factor in attack. So I think we should keep this team as is, bring in De Ligt, and I believe that we should.
No Cobby?
I think Cobby can come off the bench. And the thing is, I think Cobby is going to be Eriksen's sort of foil as the season commences. But I think Eriksen's ability to play progressive passes, decisive passes, is a little bit better than Maino's at this point. But I don't think that Maino is a drop-off if Eriksen goes off. You know what I mean? So I just think Bruno plays his best, I think, alongside Eriksen because there's a senior man accountability that he has to face, whereas I feel like he feels as the biggest man on the pitch when Cobby's his partner. He feels he has to make all the decisions. So I think the dynamic we currently have is really, really nice. And bring Cobby off the bench if Eriksen's not having a good game. Bring Casemiro if Ugarte is not having a good game. But I think in terms of balance, in terms of legs, in terms of dictating play, this plus De Ligt is our strongest 11 at this point in time.
Interesting stuff. Big up Chala Boy Comics. I've got a couple of super chats here, though. I do want to get to these quotes from Erik ten Hag. Kasemi is the latest member of the UV Members Club. Aranor says, the Mancutioner chose violence against Ma. He bloody did, didn't he? My goodness. Chris is also a new member of the UV Members Club. Eminem's been a member for 4 months. Says, next 3 games is it for me. If we don't see better, we need change. Ollie was held at higher standards. We are still poor in transitions 3rd season in. It just caught my eye. There's some quotes from Erik ten Hag. This comes via Laurie Whitwell. It's clearly in the post-match press conference has said, I saw in many games how high our work rate is, but today I have some criticism. It's not only the team. I have to look in the mirror as well. I am part of it. We have to be more clinical in such situations, which is basically what I was saying, This idea that it's just like, just Erik or just... Everyone's got to take collective blame for this evening. And I agree with what he's saying. Second half, we took our foot off the gas. We were strolling through the game that was not won. And this idea that, we were creating lots of chances. Second half, we really weren't. We were just playing. We were just watching the clock tick. And then they got more into it. They got more into it and we make a mistake and they score and they go, we can get something out of this game. So you should look in the mirror. A lot of the players should as well. You know, when you put on the Man United shirt, yeah, you should be held to a higher standard than drawing it home to FC Twente. And I know that people can say, give them respect. They've done this in the Eredivisie. But if we should be giving them respect, why are they literally celebrating like they've won the league because they've got a point at Old Trafford? Because that's not meant to happen. That's why they're celebrating. First game of the Europa League, they've got 7 more left. They might even go out of the competition, you know, if they don't win any more games. But they're celebrating in front of their fans. Why? Because it's not supposed to happen. Because Man United should be comfortably winning that game. That's the problem. Let's go to another call. Let's go to GJE. What are your thoughts on what you witnessed this evening?
Yo, Owen, can you hear me?
I can hear you all good, loud and clear.
Oh, great. Thank you. Yeah, I actually think, the game today, I think the problem that we're having as a fan base is that we don't have balance. And when I mean opinion, is either black or white. There's no like in between or grey. So today, I felt like United, yeah, we controlled the game. But to be frank, did we really create any big chances? It just felt like we were holding on to the ball and it was nice, we were passing about, and the team was generally good. But when we get to the final third, it always feels like we didn't make the right decision or we made a sloppy pass, or it just feels like the decision making today wasn't on it and it wasn't quite good. And I thought the first half was good, and you're kind of looking at it thinking, okay, you're coming to the second half, you keep that up, or maybe you improve upon it, and then you can go on there, maybe get a second goal, etc. But we came into the second half, and the energy, I just feel like it just went down. We just didn't really like pick up from how we played the first half. And even when you look at the goal that we conceded, like as much as people would want to blame Eriksen, the fact that the defender could run from the goal kick all the way, no one could tackle him, Maguire flew in, went through his legs, and then of course Eriksen made that mistake. And even Onana, I think Onana should have done better with that. We're saving that because like the near post, he gave him too much space right there. It was just all sloppy. And then once that goal went in, there was just a feeling that United were not going to, like United were never going to score. It just felt like, yeah, that was it. And it's like everyone's heads went down. And I guess it's also down to a mentality thing because it just feels like every time we go down, it just feels like the whole team just feels like, oh, we're not going to do it. There's just this feeling that, yeah, it's over. We're not going to score. We're not going to create anything. And that's a bit frustrating. But on a positive side, I would say that we are defending better. I'll say that I can see that we're holding on to the ball. We are getting controls of the game, but I just feel like it is worrying that we're not really scoring goals, and that's a big fear for me.
Yeah, what do you make of the all the chat around Bruno Fernandes? Of course, didn't have the best game at the weekend. Today got moved out wide right, as caller mentioned up earlier on. It's not necessarily his fault if he stays on the pitch.
Yeah.
What do you make of his performance, and what do you make of, I guess, those substitutions later on by Ten Hag?
I don't. That's the thing. This also happened at the Palace game, right? It almost feels like when we make these subs, it's not really impacting the game as we should. If I'm being frank, watching the game, I really did not think the subs were bad because when you think about it, like I feel like he brought on Garnacho for Diallo, and Garnacho, I think he's our top goal scorer as of this moment. So you're thinking, okay, that's a good positive change. Eriksen, we all know that Eriksen can't play 90 minutes. So bringing in Maino for Eriksen, I actually thought, okay, this makes sense. And then you're bringing in Højlund, and maybe Højlund is just having that. He's just come back from injury, so maybe he's not as fit and not as sharp as he was. And I thought Mount, well, I would have kept Xerxes on because I did think Xerxes, and I did think Rashford actually played quite well today, weirdly enough. I know he didn't get his goal or assist, but I think that his overall game, he was a threat. Like he was always running at his man. He was trying to create something. He was trying to beat his man. And I thought he was a threat. So maybe I'd have kept Rashford and Xerxes on to try and see what could have done. But I personally do see why Eric Ten Hag made those subs, but it just did not work. And Bruno today, he wasn't that good. I feel like if anyone should have left the pitch, it was Bruno. Maybe because I would like to see a situation where Højlund and Xerxes kind of play together, because I feel like everyone is thinking Xerxes is going to turn into this 9 that's going to score goals. And I hope he does, but I personally do not see it. I feel like, people use the word that 9.5. I see Xerxes as someone that can maybe play as a second striker to someone like Højlund. And with those 1-2 passes, I can see him creating chances for Højlund to eventually get a goal. So I would have loved to see Xerxes and Højlund play together and maybe Bruno come off, because Bruno was not having the best game. But it is worrying that Eric Ten Hag is making these subs and it's just not impacting the game. If anything, the standards kind of drop. And it's funny because in Eric Ten Hag's first season, it felt like he was always getting his subs right. even kind of going to the second season. But nowadays, it just feels like something is off. Just something isn't right. And I can't really, it's weird. That's why I've even gone for the picture. I've gone and scratching my head. I can't really put a finger on it. It just feels very strange. It feels very strange. But there are improvements, but just something missing.
What that was. I was thinking there's a talking baby.
Yeah, I'm just a bit, that's basically, that's my mood, man. I'm just a bit like, what is really going on here? Like, it's not terrible, but it's not amazing. That's why I started off with the thing about balance. It's not bad, but it's not great. It's just okay. And we can do better. And Erik ten Hag, unfortunately, I don't know how much time he has left because he needs to start getting some wins. It's nice that we're seeing improvements getting the controls. By the end of the day, 3 points and winning is all that matters in this game. So I'm just hoping that against Spurs we could do something. But when I'm looking at the fixture list, we have some tough games actually. And I do worry if we're not scoring goals. Where are these goals going to come from?
Yeah, indeed, man. Where are they going to come from? Big up, GJE. That was great. Cool. Big up to you. How many likes are we currently at the moment? We're nearly at 300 likes. If you haven't already, click the like button. Be sure to subscribe as well whilst you're at it. Let's get to another one. Let's go to CH. What are your thoughts on the draw that we saw this evening?
Oh, can you hear me?
I can hear you all good.
All right, nice. First of all, happy belated, Owen. Big up to yourself.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Yes, I think
your
that
hard
game's
work.
It's put about 12 years onto this face at the moment. Oh.
Listen, I think there's Chalaboy. Big up Chalaboy as well. He's the realist out the call-ins. I think everyone just needs to take a breath. Way too reactionary. I think. I think, to be honest, I've noticed something this season. Maybe it's the Ineos coming in and, someone else is in his ear, but I think he's kind of changing how he approaches games and what he's doing in terms of setting up teams. And he's mix and matching. Like, we can't even kind of guess what he's doing now. So I think he's going through something in terms of he's adjusting to the new team, the new setup, trying to find his best scenarios and that. But today, I can't put the blame on him. I can't think of too much he did wrong, if that makes sense. FC20, we should be packing them up. So I got to look at the players halfway through this, because the players themselves, there's way more that they could be doing in terms of stepping up intensity. We didn't play half as well as we did with Palace, and we made 3 changes today. Like, are we saying if Bruno goes to the right wing that all of a sudden means that these Premier League players shouldn't do better against FC20? I mean, it's like that's why I've got some sympathy for Eve, but our fan base is, as fickle as it will be. So I'm with KG on this. But I'm with you as well. It's a mixture of all. And another thing, where are our goals going to come from? Who do you think is going to score 20+ goals this season?
I don't know. I mean, you're the caller. You tell me where they're going to come from. I mean, we've got a striker, and I really like Xerxes. I thought he played really well tonight, actually. I know he was unfortunate to come off, but I don't think he's going to be the guy that gets 15, 20 goals or anything. So
yeah, and it's not a knock on our squad either. I think we're building. We are building, and we got to be patient. I think that's what everyone needs to kind of just take it back. But everyone's saying third season, we should be doing more. Completely amnesia about our injury crisis last season, but we should be doing more. But it will come in time. I can see that we're building. I can see we're making steps in the right direction. It may not be 3 steps at a time. It might be 1 step at a time at the moment. But it's 5 games in the league. First game in Europe. So I think just a little bit more calm, but hopefully we can see a better performance against Tottenham, and hopefully these players step up for the big occasions, which they kind of do with Ten Hag anyway. So I'm feeling all right for Sunday. Is it Sunday? Yeah, I'm feeling all right for that game. So hopefully we can do something better, because we just need a little bit more calm in the fan base. Back the players, back the manager. Decide where you are in Christmas. That's what I say.
Yep, we'll be going to it till. I'll tell you what, I can't even think that far ahead.
Owen, we need to, because we can't say we're building, but we don't want to build. We want to tear it down every game. Like, how are we going to do? How are we going to build if we're constantly tearing the manager down, the players down? Just wait till Christmas.
Wait till Christmas. That's the message from CH. You heard it here first in the full-time view. Yeah. Wait till Christmas. Yeah. That's like waiting till Christmas Day to open your presents. Yeah. You go, well, to be fair, actually, some open it on Christmas Eve. But the point being is, you're still saying there's still time. There's still time. And Chalaboy Comics is backing it up in the chat. He says, exactly, back the team. We are in a process. Where are we at in terms of likes? We're currently at 300 likes. So if you haven't already, click the like button. There should be... if there isn't already, there will be. There will be fan views and player ratings on the way. KG, that comedian, you always have to say THA, that comedian, will be dropping his fan view very shortly if it hasn't already gone up. There will be also actually, I've specifically clipped the end of the match view for the aftermath this week because I really enjoyed that debate that KG and myself had. I do feel a little bit calmer at this point. I'm a bit less red in the face. Got a little bit angry after the game. Still trying to simmer down and settle down a little bit. So you'll be able to watch that as well. Tomorrow morning as well, we'll be back with the morning view, Flex and myself. And we carry on. I know What the Devils is tomorrow. Instead of being today, because there was Europa League, What the Devil will be tomorrow. So stay tuned for that one as well. Big up to everyone that called in. Apologies to those that couldn't get to call in next time. Make sure you do. When's the next game? Sunday. It will be, of course, Spurs. So we'll have a full-time view after that as well. And if you are watching after the fact and go, I tell you what, next time I want to get involved in this, you'll be able to do so. Links in the video description. So also you can click the join button and you can have your say. A couple of new callers today, all first time in a long time, and really enjoyed that. So different voices, that's what it's all about, guys. So big up to everyone. Appreciate you tuning into this and tuning into the match view as well. Joining me for, like, was it 5 hours or something? And we sat for a 1-1 draw. Look at that. We did it together. We did it. It's like that Paul Rudd thing, isn't it, at the end? Look at us. Look at us here at the end. We made it, you guys. Not to a victory, but we made it. But big up, and I'll see you all again tomorrow morning. I'm out there. Peace.